If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. I think the problem with that show is that show has this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in.
The scandal involving Sunny Hostin and her husband is no longer breaking news. It's the controversy everyone's talking about. By now, you've heard about the allegations, fraudulent surgeries, kickbacks, and a RICO lawsuit involving 180 defendants. It's the kind of story that shakes not just the medical world, but also the foundations of public trust in institutions we rely on. But here's the thing. While the headlines have been plastered everywhere, the deeper angles of this scandal have been overlooked, glossed over, or recycled into the same tired narratives.
Interesting, because I think Sunny's very intelligent.
What?
But she's ideologically captured.
Right.
You know, that's sort of, I think the other ones are...
Later in this video, we'll discuss Joe Rogan's explosive commentary on this topic, how he called out Sunny's silence and didn't hold back on his criticism of The View. For now, we're going beyond the surface of the scandal. This isn't just about fraudulent surgeries or legal drama, it's about uncovering the hidden corruption, double standards, and moral dilemmas that no one else seems willing to address. Stay tuned, because this is the story you didn't know you needed. Imagine this. You're injured, vulnerable, and desperate for help. You turn to a trusted doctor, a specialist, believing they'll guide you back to health. Instead, you discover you've become a pawn in a multi-million-dollar game of deceit. That's the harsh reality alleged against Dr. Emanuel Manny Hostin, a man who, by all outward appearances, embodied professionalism and care. But behind the scenes, the accusations paint a far darker picture. Dr. Hostin is accused of orchestrating a scheme involving unnecessary surgeries, procedures that patients may not have even needed but were convinced to undergo. From knee scopes to shoulder repairs, these minimally invasive surgeries might sound harmless, but if performed without medical necessity, they represent a betrayal of the very trust that patients place in their healthcare providers. Worse, the lawsuit alleges that these operations were just one part of a broader network of fraudulent practices, all designed to extract massive payouts from insurance companies. But here's where things take an even more sinister turn. This isn't your run-of-the-mill malpractice case where a mistake or poor judgment leads to legal trouble. This is a RICO case, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Originally created to dismantle the mafia, the RICO Act is a legal powerhouse designed to tackle organized crime. It's been used to take down mob bosses, cartel leaders, and gangsters.
You know, I don't know if you've ever seen audiences before for TV shows, but a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be there.
So why is it being invoked here? The allegations suggest that Dr. Hostin's actions weren't isolated incidents, but part of a larger organized network involving other medical professionals, clinics, and even hospitals. It's a web of corruption where money flowed like water, and the integrity of the healthcare system was compromised at every level. When you think of RICO cases, you imagine mobsters and underground dealings. But in this case, the setting is sterile operating rooms and glossy medical offices. It's almost surreal. And let's not ignore the scale of this lawsuit. With 180 defendants, this case isn't just a legal proceeding, it's a spectacle. It has the potential to expose systemic flaws in the healthcare industry, from how doctors are incentivized to the loopholes in insurance policies that make fraud possible. It's a story so explosive, so unprecedented, that it makes traditional healthcare fraud cases look like small potatoes. For the patients caught in this alleged scheme, the betrayal is deeply personal. Imagine undergoing surgery, enduring pain, and putting your life on hold for recovery, only to learn it may have all been unnecessary. It's not just about the physical toll, it's the emotional and psychological scars that linger. Trust in the medical system, once shattered, is hard to rebuild. The lawsuit filed by American Transit Insurance isn't just a legal move. It's a full-blown war against what they describe as an organized network of medical professionals exploiting the system. They claim Dr. Hostin was at the center of a scheme involving arthroscopic surgeries, minimally invasive procedures often done on knees and shoulders. But here's the twist. Many of these surgeries were allegedly unnecessary. Patients might have been under the knife not for healing, but for profit. The sheer scale of this case, 180 defendants, is unprecedented. It's not just about one doctor, it's about an entire industry under fire. And yet, few are willing to dive into the details like we are. This scandal doesn't just impact Sunny Hostin, it's a black eye for The View. As a show that thrives on addressing cultural and political controversies, how can they stay credible when one of their own is tied to such a massive legal case? Critics are already questioning whether this will force the show to pivot or if it will double down on its typical moral posturing. And for Sunny, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will her career survive, or is this the beginning of the end? Sunny Hostin's silence on the matter is deafening. Normally, she's the first to jump into a controversy, wielding sharp takes and fiery arguments. But this time, nothing. Not a word about the lawsuit. Is this strategic? Is she distancing herself to protect her image, or is there more to the story? Either way, the absence of her voice raises more questions than it answers. And while some speculate she's waiting for legal advice, others think she's avoiding becoming the scandal's collateral damage. Whatever the case, her silence speaks volumes, and we're here to dissect what it might mean. Now, let's dive into Joe Rogan's takedown of Sunny Hostin and The View. In a media landscape where critics often play it safe, Rogan's blunt honesty hit like a thunderclap, sparking a wildfire of reactions across social media. While Sunny has long positioned herself as a champion of morality, equality, and social justice, Rogan didn't hesitate to dismantle that image, pointing to her eerie silence in the wake of her husband's massive legal scandal. The hypocrisy is off the charts. How does someone spend years lecturing people about ethics and equality while sitting next to Whoopi Goldberg, only to conveniently go mute when her own household is under fire? You can't make this stuff up. Rogan quipped during a recent episode of his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. But Rogan wasn't finished. He turned his sights on The View itself, calling it a rabies-infested henhouse where the loudest cluck wins.
It is a rabies-infested henhouse.
The insult was cutting, but his follow-up was even sharper. If you average the IQ of those hosts, I'm not even sure you'd hit triple digits, Rogan added with a laugh. While the remark was harsh, his audience ate it up, and clips of his rant quickly went viral, fueling debates and drawing even more attention to the controversy. One of Rogan's most incendiary comments was his speculation about what might be happening behind the scenes. Do you think Sunny didn't know? Come on, Rogan said. You don't live with someone for years, share bank accounts, have conversations over dinner, and just miss this kind of thing. Either she's lying to herself or lying to everyone else. He even posed a damning hypothetical. Imagine this scandal breaking about anyone else on the show. Do you think Sunny would give them the benefit of the doubt? No chance. She'd be on air the next morning, ripping into them, demanding accountability. But when it's her husband, suddenly silence is the golden rule. The internet responded in kind, with hashtags like Hostin Hypocrisy and A View Exposed trending within hours. Memes circulated showcasing Sunny Hostin's past fiery takedowns, juxtaposed with her silence over her husband's alleged crimes. Fans of Rogan celebrated his candor, hailing him as one of the few media personalities willing to call it like it is. One viral moment from Rogan's segment featured him addressing Sunny's fans directly. Look, if you want to keep watching The View, that's on you. But don't pretend for a second that these people are paragons of virtue. It's performative outrage, plain and simple. They'll crucify others for scandals half this size, but close ranks when it's one of their own. Whether you agree with Rogan or not, his commentary has undeniably shifted the conversation. By shining a spotlight on the inconsistencies in Sunny Hostin's public persona and her show's credibility, he's added yet another layer of intrigue to an already explosive scandal. For viewers, the real question isn't just about the legal case, it's about who we choose to trust in the court of public opinion. This isn't just about Dr. Hostin or Sunny. This case has peeled back the curtain on a healthcare system riddled with vulnerabilities. Fraud, corruption, and kickbacks are symptoms of a larger disease, one that thrives when money overshadows patient care. Insurance companies, too, are far from innocent. Many are quick to deny legitimate claims and exploit loopholes to avoid paying out. So, who's the real villain here? A fraudulent doctor or an industry built on profit over people? The answer might be more complicated than you think. In today's world, scandals don't just play out in courtrooms, they explode on social media. Platforms like Twitter and YouTube have turned this case into a viral sensation, with users sharing memes, commentary, and theories faster than the news can keep up. Sunny's silence hasn't just been noticed, it's become a central point of discussion online. And with every new twist, social media ensures this story stays in the spotlight. History has seen plenty of public figures entangled in family-related scandals. From political dynasties to Hollywood royalty, these moments often test their resilience. Sunny's handling or mishandling of this controversy will likely set a precedent for others in her position. Can she navigate these murky waters without sinking, or is she destined to become another cautionary tale? This case could have far-reaching consequences for the medical field. If proven true, it might trigger tighter regulations and scrutiny on doctors nationwide. But will this solve the problem or create new ones? Doctors who genuinely care about their patients may find themselves caught in the crossfire of increased oversight. This story isn't just a scandal. It's a mirror reflecting the uncomfortable truths about trust, power, and corruption in our institutions. From the courtroom drama to Sunny silence, every twist peels back another layer of a system many would rather ignore. So, what does this mean for us, the people relying on these systems to protect us? Are we mere pawns in a larger game, or is there hope for change? Stay tuned because this scandal is far from over, and we'll be here to bring you the story no one else will.